Today, August 28th, is Rainbow Bridge Day. It's a national day of remembrance for everyone who may have lost a pet in their life, whether it's a dog, a cat, or another pet. For many of us, our pets are family members, and their loss has a great impact. Joining me now via Zoom is Dr. Tracy Alloway to talk more about how to deal with and overcome that loss. Good morning, Dr. Alloway.
Good morning, Brianna. Thank you so much for having me.
Of course. So, what's the first thing you should do if you lose a pet?
I think the first important thing to remember is that the bond between a human and a pet is real. There are multiple studies to show that when we have a pet, when we bond with a pet, both the pet and the human release oxytocin. That's our bonding hormone. That's the same hormone that's released between a mother and an infant and between yourself and a loved one. So it's important to acknowledge, first of all, how real that bond actually is between a human and a pet.
And you mentioned realizing how strong that bond is. It seems that some people do underestimate the feeling of actually losing a pet. Why do you think that is?
I think it's because a pet isn't a human. And so there's the tendency to discount that bond. And I think that's why science really illustrates how strong that relationship is. We feel that loss in the same way that we feel a loss of a loved one, someone important in our life.
And we know this loss can be especially hard for those with service animals. Are there options for people that can cope who use service animals in particular?
That's a great question. I think the first thing, whether it's through a service animal, I'm sure there are options to be able to look for additional support. But I think for the individual, it's important to give yourself the space and the time to grieve. Recognize that it is a bond that is now no longer present, and allow yourself to go through those stages of grief, of anger, even denial, frustration, and before you come to a place of acceptance. And that may take a short time for some. It may take a longer time for others. There's no time frame, and it's important to give yourself the space to go through that process.
Absolutely. And there are also physical activities you can do to overcome grief. Can you talk a little bit about what those look like?
Yeah, so as a licensed psychologist, a big part of what I do is to help my clients recognize that our body actually holds in stress. And in a microcosm, you may notice this, that when you're feeling down, your shoulders slump, or you may have tension, headaches, and so on. And that's your body's way of signaling to you that, hey, I'm holding a lot of stress, a lot of grief, a lot of sadness inside me. And so even simply going for a walk, going for a little bike ride, even if you don't feel like it, that is a good way to help process some of the grief that you're experiencing.
And we know with the loss, it's so common for people to say, time heals all. How important is it to give yourself time to heal?
It's extremely important. And of course, we want to keep the memory of a pet alive. So oftentimes having a routine is very helpful. Even being able to create simple things to look forward to every day. Those are also important. And that can help with the coping and the process as well.
Absolutely. Well, thank you so much, Dr. Alloway. We know that this will help so many people this morning.
Thank you.